people don't realize the significance of these coins because the archaeology of these coins totally destroys the traditional Islamic story of an Islamic leader who came from Mecca.
Muhammad existed probably, right? Like based on, or what are your views on that? Or is
No.
no?
No.
Hi, how are you?
Good.
Can you explain to me what this is?
Okay.
Alright.
This is what is called an Arab-Byzantine coin,
Okay.
and it comes from Homs in Syria. And it's dated, it hasn't got a date on it, but by other means, it's dated to the year 685 or something like that. Okay? Now the curious thing about that coin, first of all, this is minted during the reign of Abd al-Malik, who was the Arab leader at that time. He was the man who built the Dome of the Rock.
No way. Oh yeah.
So this is dating for 60 or so years after the death of the alleged Arab prophet.
Let me see this. How many years after today?
Well,
What does it say under?
50 years.
This is Arabic and Greek, right?
okay. The Arab word means real.
Are you sure?
Yeah.
What is it? Because I'm seeing it looks a little bit like Muhammad, but it's not, right? Like
Yeah.
I'm seeing.
Yeah, it looks like.
What's the word then? I'm seeing a he and seeing a man. What is this word? Arabic word?
They put the word real on the coins because just at this time, the Arabs were independent of the the Roman Byzantines.
Right.
Up till before this, they used Roman coins minted in Constantinople.
Right.
Now, the Arabs at this time were independent. They were an independent community, but they weren't Muslim. They were still Christian, and they had Christian coins. So this is the significance of this coin, one of many from this time. It's got two Christian crosses on it. Right? It's got a leader holding a cross, and it's also got an orb with a cross on it.
Where's the orb?
No, it could be on the other side. Here. Oh, there's the other side.
Oh, okay.
So that's the other side. You get a shot. The letter M is it means 40. It means 40 numina, which means a copper coin. Is you have 40th. 40 copper coins is equivalent to one silver coin. So that's a unit.
Where did you get this from?
I got it from an auction house that sells old coins, and it from London, and it was £120.
Are you sure it's real?
Yeah,
How are you so sure?
because the auction house, their whole reputation.
I would think this would be so expensive. More expensive than that. You get it, like, this seems like a great deal.
Well, people don't realise the significance of these coins because the archaeology of these coins totally destroys the traditional Islamic story of an Islamic leader who came from Mecca and conquered the Arabs, or conquered the Syrians, or people who lived in what is now Syria, which was then
Which Islamic leader are you talking about?
Sorry?
What leader are you referring to? You're talking about Muhammad?
Well, of course, the traditional Muslim story,
Right.
Islamic history, is that there was a prophet who came from Mecca, and the conquest of the Arabs came on horseback out of the desert,
Right.
and they conquered these great cities of the Roman Empire and the Persian Empire. And then, as soon as they got there, they had their caliphs that were governing this region. But this story is totally rejected by the actual evidence that comes from the time, and the principal evidence is coins and inscriptions. There's one inscription that refers to the year 42 of the Arabs. Okay.
Right.
So, and that dates it dates the start of the Arab calendar, which is now the Muslim calendar, but it doesn't date. It doesn't. The origin of that is not any kind of hijra from Mecca, because nobody lived in Mecca. The origin was the date when the Arabs themselves considered that they were independent, and they started to mint their own coins.
Right.
And this is evidence they definitely minted their own coins.
Right.
But they minted coins with Christian crosses on it, and they minted coins with some Greek letters.
Right.
And they put the word real on the coin, because that was to emphasize that this was a legitimate coin that people could use. And they did. And it replaced the previous currency.
So correct me if I'm wrong. So what I'm hearing more recently, and it seems like you might be suggesting that as well, is that this whole story of Islam was written after Arabs became an empire, not before.
After, exactly.
So it wasn't like Islam came and then Arabs became an empire. It was Arabs became an empire and then they invented Islam.
Exactly.
And something that people refer to is when a lot of the invasions that happened, the people that recorded them coming and invading, they didn't record anything about Islam or them being Muslim at all.
No.
So the stories were written later on. And you agree with this?
Yes.
Okay.
And all the evidence suggests that that's what happened. The first mention of Islam, it comes much later.
And also there was not, other than the Quran itself, there was no text referring to Muhammad, right? Or any, what do you think on that?
Okay. The interesting thing is the first use of the word Muhammad on coins, and the first use of it was only maybe 100 years after the alleged life
of Muhammad.
And when the Arabs first conquered, or they alleged to have conquered Jerusalem, they never mentioned Muhammad.
Right.
And they never mentioned Islam.
Right.
And they weren't actually Muslims. They'd had a different form of Christianity. They had a very anti-Trinitarian form of Christianity. That means they rejected Jesus as being the Son of God.
Right.
Jesus was a prophet, but
right.
not the Son. They were very...
yes.
This concept of Trinity has been very controversial throughout the whole life of Christianity.
So the argument is that later on they invented Islam as a way to separate themselves from the other. It's like they observed that different empires have their own brand of religion, and to brand themselves as an empire, as a new empire, they invented Islam as a marketing tactic, like or a strategic, ideology to go with their new with their new success. Right? Is that the understanding?
Yeah.
Oh.
But they they also had the Quran at that time, but the Quran at that time wasn't a Muslim document. It was a Christian document.
What? Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
It was originally meant to be used in Christian services.
Huh.
And a proper analysis of the Quran can show that, but later additions to it changed. But the significant thing about the first use of the word Muhammad, that's something that's really, what I've said up till now, is kind of generally accepted by Western scholars.
Right.
Like the big problem is there's no Mecca.
There's no Mecca.
So where did Muhammad come from?
Well, some people are suggesting now, and I don't know how legit this is, that it was in Petra, Jordan, instead, because of the first, like they're looking at the mosque that were built within the first 100 years after the alleged story of Muhammad, and they seem to, all the qiblas seem to be pointing to Petra instead of to Mecca. And also they point to a lot of the stories in the hadiths regarding agriculture and farming, and they're saying that there's no way there was any of that happening in Mecca because there's no farming in Mecca.
Oh no,
so,
the Quran refers to grapes and...
right, that was impossible in Mecca.
They don't grow in Mecca, no.
So
it was definitely, the Quran was located further north in more fertile areas. Yeah.
Is that
Some people say Petra, but that's not general consensus. They don't know.
They don't know.
They don't know the real location.
So how does this coin play into this? You think that this coin has a significance in some way, proving some of these claims in what way exactly?
Okay, well, the significance of coins is that they showed who was ruling at the time. They indicate power. Okay.
Oh.
If you have a power,
you
have the power to mint a coin. That means you have authority. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
And what you put on the coin, that is the main means of dissemination of propaganda of the state, because everyone sees the coin in their pocket. So the coins are very significant, and they're a reliable indicator of what was happening at the time, because you can date them, and they see what was actually happening at the time.
Right. So there's two things that they do. First, they're very easily dateable, and also it's not just a tool for transaction. They come with propaganda on them.
Yes.
So they tell us about exactly the propaganda at the time, at a specific date, and that's what makes them so useful.
Absolutely.
Right.
They don't lie.
Right.
I mean, you have to interpret it. But,
right.
I mean, but people have spent their lives, archaeologists, investigating these coins.
Right.
And
so
what they say, no one takes notice of what they say, actually. But it's very, very significant.
So what is the propaganda that is being sold to us here right now?
Well, the main thing there is it's got both Arab and Greek characters on it. Mm-hmm. And it's definitely got Christian symbols on it.
Where's the Christian symbol?
Okay, let me show you. You need an enlargement, but I'll try to point to it. That's a figure. That's the face, and on top of the figure, there's a cross on its head.
Right. Is that a face?
Yeah, that's a face. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
It's a pity. There's an enlargement.
Okay. There's a cross. Okay. What else is there?
Down here, that's an orb with a cross on it.
Mm-hmm.
The Christians have a symbol of an orb with a cross on it.
Right.
Like
yeah.
A globe.
Okay. What is? So it's very interesting that this is an Umayyad coin and has crosses all over it. Why would they have crosses over an Umayyad coin?
Well, Islam doesn't like crosses, right?
Right.
But people who like crosses are Christians.
Right.
So,
Okay.
I mean, this is a Christian coin.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay. I mean, I heard like, you know, the difference between the Umayyads and the Abbasids were that the Umayyads really followed the bureaucracy and the practices of the Romans as a way to do government, and the Abbasids copied the Persian Empire. So Umayyads copied the Roman Empire, Abbasids copied the Persian Empire. So does that explain a little bit of why there's crosses here and stuff like that, or no? Actually,
Well, yeah, but that's kind of a characterization, because I mean the Abbasids really denigrated the Umayyads for being non-practicing Muslims.
Right.
Because they weren't Muslims. You know?
Right.
I mean,
Okay.
The characterization of the people at that time as Umayyads,
Right.
as being Muslims, was just made up.
Really?
Fiction. I mean, there wasn't.
So is it fair to say Islam today is an Abbasid invention?
Yeah, well, definitely. I mean, I haven't explained something about the role of Persia in all this. Okay?
Right. No. Okay, but let's finish the coin first. So
Yeah.
what is this thing? What is this?
That
Actually, let me see if it's recording.
that one, because that looks like an Arab word saying Muhammad. But
Yeah, it does
but it's
look
not.
like it's. Yeah, I thought it looked like saying Muhammad.
Yeah.
But you're saying it's not. It's saying
No.
something else.
Yeah.
It does really look like Muhammad, but it has. Okay.
Some of the coins do have Muhammad on them.
Okay, but that's much later, right?
Yeah.
What? So if you remove this first part, the rest of it, no, actually, it's missing an M here, so it looks like Mahd. I don't know what this is. Law. I don't know what this. I don't know what. Yeah. What is
Well,
reading?
I'm just relying on what the experts say about that, and they say it's an Arab word. It means real, and it was meant to indicate that.
So this is how many years after the Hijrah of Muhammad? Am I?
Well, they date this the year about 680.
680.
680 something.
And the first coin with the word Muhammad on it was during the Umayyads' time, or what time?
The first the interesting thing about the first coins with the word Muhammad on them, right?
Huh.
They were minted in Persia.
Wow.
The first coins with the word Muhammad were, first of all, maybe nearly 100 years, or certainly between 50, more than 50, between 50 and 100 years after, I forget the exact date now, after the alleged life of a prophet called Muhammad.
Why were
No.
they minted in Persia?
Okay, this is the most controversial aspect, but it's definitely attested by a very authoritative German archaeologist who spent his life in these coins and lived in
What's his name?
Volker Pop.
Okay.
Yeah, he's been a curator of museums in Cairo, and he's lived in Tehran. So he reads the old languages, right?
Right.
And he's a coin expert, which is a numismatist.
Okay.
I think that's the right word. The first coin with the word Muhammad on it was a Persian coin, and you can tell Persian coins from this time because they still follow the previous, even though the Zoroastrian regime had been defeated, but they still kept the tradition up with the Persian type of
Great.
coins, even with the fire.
The fire.
The
Okay.
fire temple.
The fire temple was
Yeah,
still
they
on.
still had fire temples, even though Zoroastrianism had been
Defeated.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And the Persian leaders at that time, they also had adopted a form of Christianity.
Huh.
Yeah.
Where can somebody read about all this stuff? Like, I've been looking for some really good books about this. One book is what is it called? Under the Shadow of the Sword. But do you have any recommendations?
Shadow of the Sword is good.
What was the name? I'm reading
That's
it.
Tom Holland.
Tom Holland's. Yeah, I'm almost done finishing. That's a really, really fun, interesting book. Anything else about this? This is like good sources for reading about all.
Well, the only problem is the other sources are very hard to read.
Right.
But there's
You
very
have a
thick
book.
books.
You have a book. Yeah.
Yeah, I've got a whole lot of books up.
No, your
upstairs.
own book. You wrote a book.
I'm
about-
still writing a book on this.
Oh, you are.
No, but that my other book is not about this.
Okay.
Yeah. Now,
Can you? Okay. Okay. Go. You
I
want
want
to?
to say the most important thing.
Most important thing. Okay. Good.
The word Muhammad
Right.
is it's not an. It originally it wasn't a name. It was an adjective. It means the praised one, or praised or honored one.
Okay.
Okay, it was a.
I did not know
in
that.
an honorific. Now, in Christianity, there's many names for Jesus, the Anointed One. In fact, the Anointed One is Christ. Christ is the Anointed One,
Right.
and the Chosen One.
Okay.
The Chosen One. So, the Arab term, the Arab and Persian term, although it was an Arab word, it was for Jesus was Muhammad. Muhammad meant the praised one.
Right.
Okay, so the first reference to Muhammad was on Persian coins, and you can actually trace the movement west of the first use of Muhammad on coins.
Wait. So are you saying the invention of Muhammad is a copy of Jesus as the Anointed One?
Yes, the
Okay. That's really okay. That's
yeah.
the first time I'm hearing this.
the word Muhammad originally was a name for Jesus. Okay.
Wait. Do you think Muhammad Muhammad existed probably, right? Like based on, or what are your views on that? Or is
No,
no?
no.
Okay.
Well, because, put it this way, they've interviewed people. Well, the people in John of Damascus, right? He was a Christian leader in Damascus. This is way after the time of the
But
alleged prophet.
Okay.
They never knew. He was supposed to have been conquered by Arabs from Arabia in the name of this prophet, but they never mentioned any prophet called Muhammad.
Didn't the
At that
Romans
time.
record some invasions by this Arab king? And some Persians also recorded some things?
There was definitely battles
Right.
between the Arabs and the Romans
Right.
after the alleged time of Muhammad.
Right.
But at that time, the Arabs had been independent, but they up until the time of forget now. Just trying to think of the name of the emperor in Constantinople. Heraclius. Yeah. Okay. Heraclius was a very important leader of in Constantinople, and he actually led a battle which led to the final defeat of the Persians and to the collapse of the Persian Empire.
I thought it was the Arabs that ended the Persian Empire. No?
Well, following that, there was a famous battle in the year 622 that eventually defeat of the Persians in 622, and following that defeat, the Persians lost their control of the area, and soon after that, Heraclius more or less ceded the territory to the Arabs, who were his allies. At that time, the Arabs were the allies of the Romans against the Persians,
So
and they acted as a what's called a federati, which is like a border force, acted as a border force. So they were armed, okay, but they were armed allies of the Romans, and then they were ceded independence, and so after they were ceded independence, the administration kept going
Right.
under Arab rule.
So they were supposed to be proxies for the Romans.
Yeah.
But at some point they decided to be like, yeah, we're going to do our own thing.
Yeah.
Okay.
And they became independent. They started to mint their own coins.
Right.
It was a statement of independence, you know.
Okay, but okay, what does so wait, before I go back to the coin, the most important thing that you wanted to point was the word. I want to make sure you got that part in is fully, unless I interrupted you. That Muhammad, the word Muhammad, is derived from
The word for Jesus.
For Jesus.
Yeah.
Okay, that's okay. Why is this not like huge controversy? Or like, why more people are not talking about this?
Well, because you know it's so controversial. People think, like, "What are you? You're crazy. It can't be true." You know?
Okay.
Which
but
is why a lot of the academics don't treat it seriously. But I mean, I'm not sure. I spent a lot of time researching what Volker Pop said and comparing that with other people said and corroborating it. And so I came to my own conclusion that he was right.
okay, but the stuff that you're suggesting is not being suggested by some loons on the internet. You're talking about,
I know.
but you're talking about serious
I know.
scholars in history.
Yeah, the books, tell me, trust me, the books are this thick.
And these are not like these are. I mean, it's not just that the books are thick. These are people that are taken seriously by other scholars.
Yes.
Right. So
yes.
it's coming from authentic sources.
Yes, and
okay.
the German school is based in Saarbrücken in Germany, and it's called the Inara School. It's an Arab word. It's Inarh, I think. Inara.
Okay. And yeah, so I mean, I don't know how much any of this is true, but I guess the sources that you mentioned, for anybody that is interested to go look into it themselves, these are the places where they would go look, right? These people that you mentioned, yeah.
Yeah, the books. Well, you can actually read some of these articles in English on the web. So
okay.
From that, if you Google Volker Pop and Karl-Heinz Oleg,
Right.
they're the authors of the books. Published by Prometheus Books in the US about 2010, 2013.
Why has it taken so long for people? I mean, my understanding was like that there was very little evidence, historical evidence, for any of the stories of Muhammad or anything within the first 100 years of Islam that showed that any of the stories as canonized in Islam is true. There was no evidence, and that gap of evidence was mentioned many times by a lot of historians. So why haven't, given this amount of gap in knowledge and evidence for any of these stories, why has this not been picked up until just recently? I mean, the books that you mentioned are even published recently.
Yeah, it's a strange tale, but I mean, if you look at the academic authorities in the US, a good starting point is you can watch that film of Tom Holland called Islam: The Untold Story.
Yes, yeah.
And he interviews the top scholars, you know, in that.
That's free on YouTube, by the way, if anyone wants to watch that.
It's an unusual film, because you know, to make a film like that, you suffer.
Yes.
Retribution.
Right.
So
has he suffered?
They didn't showed it once, and they never showed it again.
Right.
On the
okay,
BBC.
but it is available on YouTube for free.
Yeah.
So okay, so people could look that up. What is the other side of this? Wait, do you want to add something before I go to the other side of the coin? Anything important that we missed?
Well, just that the interesting thing is the progression of the coins from Persia to west in towards the Arab areas, and the Arabs actually were already there. They didn't just suddenly come from Arabia. They're already there and speaking Arabic at the time. So it was a very slow transition. But the interesting thing was it was more an Arab-Persian alliance. The original Arab Empire was not entirely an Arab empire. It was greatly assisted by the Persians. I mean, did have some disputes between the Arabs and the Persians, but in general, it was kind of an alliance.
I mean, the Persian Empire and the Roman Empire, they both had their own proxies within the Arabs were kind of in between, so they both had to use proxies within the Arab community to fight the other side, right?
But that was the thing. The interesting thing was they both used Christian proxies.
Right.
Yeah.
Wait, weren't there both of them are using Christian proxies? Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, interesting. So what do we see here?
Okay, the main thing is the letter Am, which is also a Roman tradition. It means it's a number. It means 40.
Oh.
It's a unit of the coin. It's 40 units.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
This is for transaction purposes. This was the only thing that was needed, and this M, right? Everything else is just propaganda.
Yeah. Now the words around here, there's the Greek words.
Okay.
And the Greek word is the name of. It's the Greek word. Homs was the Arab name of the town, and that the Greek word is.
So this is your book, right? But this is not relevant to what we're talking about, right? This is you wrote this book, but this is about something else. But are you going to? This is about just a value judgment on Islam, right?
Yeah, this is a critique of a Muslim commentator here who also wrote a book.
Here in Melbourne.
Yeah.
Australia. Okay.
And his book was a kind of pro-Islam polemic.
Right.
And he comes across in the media as being quite moderate, but actually his book is quite a fundamentalist.
Oh, so this was a response to that.
The response to that.
Well, who is this guy you're talking about?
Walid Ali.
Okay.
Yeah.
And but you're gonna write a book about, because a lot of the stuff that you mentioned is not available in a way that laymen or people that are not experts in the field could read and understand.
Yeah.
So are you gonna write a book to make it more accessible for the rest of us?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
So look for a book under this name, John Perkins. And when is it going to be published? I want the copy, please.
Okay, look. Unfortunately, I get distracted by doing other things. So,
okay.
Maybe 1 year time.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Okay. If you guys please, maybe people go buy this book so John gets encouraged that people are buying his book, so he maybe publishes that other book faster. But what is it going to be called? Do you know?
Well, possibly something like Arab Prophet, Fact or Fiction.
Oh, that's a good title. Okay.
Yeah.
And it will be available on Amazon everywhere else?
Oh, sure, yeah.
Okay. Great. Okay, I want a copy. I want a signed copy. Okay. Okay, great. Thank you. We are creating this content independently. We rely on fan support to be able to cover all our costs. If you are a fan of this type of content, please support us. There are a couple of different ways that you guys could support us in the description. These kind of content do cost money. We have a lot of expenses to cover. If you want this kind of on-the-ground investigative content where we go into the communities, we talk to different people from different communities and their leaders, and ask them firsthand, and ask them the questions that we're good at. Please consider supporting us. We really do need your support to be able to continue with this project.